Hey, for my biofuel, I chose to do ethanol. What is ethanol? Ethanol is a form of renewable fuel made from plant materials known as biomass. It is used in more than 98% of gasoline in the US to oxygenate the fuel. There are different forms of ethanol, some of which are E10, containing 10% ethanol and 90% gasoline, and E85, also known as flex fuel, containing a blend of gasoline and ethanol up to 83%. It is considered the most critical biofuel in the current economy because it contributes 65% to global biofuel production. Demand is continually increasing because of the limited amount of natural resources available. And this is ethanol. The molecular formula is C2H5OH, and to the left is the structural formula. How is it cultivated? Most of fuel ethanol is made from fermentation of the sugars and starch found in grains like corn, barley, and the sugar in sugarcane and sugar beets. Fermentation is the metabolic process that bacteria, yeast, and other microorganisms go through to break down substances into simpler substances with enzymes. After the fermentation process, denaturants like petroleum are added to ethanol, making it become fuel ethanol and undrinkable. Some alternative ways that are being experimented to produce different biomass are agricultural residues in corn and rice stalks, fast-growing poplar and willow trees, grasses that can produce 2 harvests a year or multiple years without annual replanting, and biomass in municipal solid waste. What is the developmental status of ethanol at currently? So there are two generations, and the first generation of ethanol is produced from the fermentation of plant sugars and starches and is currently being broadly implemented at an industrial scale. And for the second generation of ethanol, it's still in its developmental stages. So researchers are still looking for alternatives in regions, and due to it being newer and still under development, it is not widely available for use like it is for the first generation of ethanol. And the effects on the environment. Ethanol is a promising alternative to lowering the levels of greenhouse gas emissions because it is made from plants, and it has a lower carbon footprint than gasoline, emitting only 18.92 pounds of carbon dioxide when combusted, and in 1 mile, 350 grams of carbon dioxide compared to gasoline. Ethanol produces 4% fewer emissions of CO2. And here is a graph of burning of ethanol and its carbon footprint. So burning 1 gallon would be 8,595 grams of CO2 emitted. Driving 1 mile on average would be 350 grams of CO2 emitted, and per million British thermal units, or BTU, 150.88 pounds of CO2 emitted. The economic impact of ethanol varies depending on which blend is being used. The impact to fuel economy is lessened as the ethanol content decreases in the blend. Another aspect of ethanol's impact on economy is that it produces jobs in rural areas where the employment opportunities are needed and in high demand. According to the Renewable Fuels Association, ethanol production in the year 2022 was responsible for around 79,000 direct jobs across America and $57 billion of the gross domestic product and $34.8 billion in household income. Is it being made known to the public? Due to its increasing interest over the years, tax breaks and import tariffs and infrastructure subsidies, a federal production mandate, the RFS, heavily benefits corn ethanol. Because corn ethanol is routinely exceeding its RFS mandate since the EPA approves of corn butanol as an advanced biofuel, the production of corn-based biofuels is being further incentivized by the federal government. My personal analysis is, since using biomass to produce biofuel is good for the environment and economy compared to other gases, there should be further research and effort into cultivating a better and efficient way to use grasses to be the main source of the biomass because it is not needed to be replanted annually. If money was an obstacle on research, it can be done by providing more money to producing larger amounts of grasses instead of the other biomass and observe the benefits and cons of this plant resource compared to others. And this is my resources. Thank you.